Every massive company you can think of, whether it's Apple or, I don't know, Spanx, they all started with a single spark, just a simple idea. But how does that spark actually catch fire? How do you really go from that aha moment to building a full-fledged enterprise? Well, today, we are breaking down the modern playbook for doing exactly that.
Okay, let's just get right into it, because this is the absolute core question, isn't it? A great idea is one thing, but that's just the start. Actually turning it into a business that works, that creates value, that's a completely different ballgame. It's really the journey from what if to what is. And the person leading that journey? That's the entrepreneur. Now here's a really interesting distinction to make. A small business owner, they might open a franchise, right? Or a restaurant using a model that already works. An entrepreneur, on the other hand, is all about creating something new, a new product, a new market, maybe an entirely new way of doing things. They're not just playing the game, they're writing the playbook.
So before we even start talking about business plans or spreadsheets, we have to start with the person. What is that entrepreneurial spark actually made of? It really comes down to a specific mindset, a collection of traits that kind of fuels the whole crazy process.
Yeah, it turns out successful entrepreneurs often share some common DNA, psychologically speaking. They're ambitious, fiercely independent, but they're also just incredibly passionate and committed. But look at that last point. I think this is so important. Willing to take moderate risks. There's this myth that entrepreneurs are just reckless gamblers, but that's not it at all. They're calculated risk takers. They weigh the odds very carefully before they decide to take that leap.
Okay, so having the right mindset is absolutely crucial. But you also have to understand the arena you're about to step into. An idea doesn't just exist in a vacuum, right? It has to compete. It has to survive in a very specific economic environment.
And for most new businesses, that arena is what economists call monopolistic competition. So let's just look at the slide for a second. Over on the left, you've got perfect competition. Think of something like wheat, where everyone sells the exact same thing and nobody controls the price. But on the right, that's where most of us live, monopolistic competition. This is a market that is just full of companies selling similar but distinct products. Think about it, all the different smartphones, all the clothing brands, or even the local coffee shops on your street. The key here, the entire game, is that you have to stand out. You're not just competing on price anymore, you're competing on your brand, your quality, your unique story.
And here's the cool part. The reward for all that competition is actually great for us, the consumers. It's that very struggle to be different that gives us this incredible variety of choices and, of course, drives constant innovation. And entrepreneurs, they're the engine that makes it all go.
All right, so you've got the mindset, you understand the market. Now what? Now it's time to actually build the blueprint. This is the part where you take that raw idea and start shaping it into a concrete, actionable plan.
And a really powerful first tool for this is design thinking. And just look at where it begins, empathize. This is so key. It's not about what you think people need. It's about deeply, truly understanding the user's actual problems, their feelings. Great businesses aren't built on assumptions. They are built on genuine empathy.
Now, this is not a straight line. It's a loop. It's a constant cycle. You empathize to define the real problem. Then you brainstorm a ton of solutions, ideate. You build a quick and dirty prototype, and then you get it out there and test it with real users. And guess what? Their feedback sends you right back to the beginning of the loop, refining and tweaking your idea until it really truly works for them.
So once you have a solution that you've started to validate through design thinking, you've got to figure out how to make it a business. And that's where a tool like the Lean Canvas is just genius. It forces you to map out your entire business model. I'm talking everything from the problem and solution to your revenue streams and customer segments, all on a single page. It's a powerful way to see if your amazing idea actually has legs before you spend a single dollar.
Okay, your blueprint is drafted, but now you need to build the foundation for your house. Choosing the right legal structure for your business, this is one of the most critical early decisions you will make. It has these long-lasting implications for your liability, your taxes, and your ownership. So it's a big deal.
All right, let's just break this down. A sole proprietorship, super simple, super cheap to start. But, and this is a huge but, you have unlimited personal liability. If the business goes under, your personal assets are on the line. Yikes. A partnership is pretty similar, just for 2 or more people. But then, you have the corporation. Sure, it's a bit more complex to set up, but it offers one game-changing advantage: limited liability.
And this is it. This is the key. Incorporating creates what's called a corporate veil. It's basically a legal wall between you and your business. So if the company racks up debt or gets sued, your personal stuff, your house, your savings, is protected. That peace of mind is exactly why so many founders choose this path.
And, today there's even another layer to this whole conversation. It's called a B Corp. Think of it as a modern evolution of the corporation. It's still a for-profit company, but it is legally required to balance its financial goals with making a positive impact on its workers, its community, and the environment. It's basically a legal structure for businesses that want to be a force for good.
So you've got the mindset, you've got the plan, you've got the legal structure. Now, it's the moment of truth, the launch. This is where all that theory hits the real world, and where you face the very real possibilities of success and, well, more often than not, failure. Now this is a sobering but absolutely essential reality check for any aspiring entrepreneur. The data on startup failure is pretty stark, not gonna lie. But the good news is that a lot of these pitfalls are actually avoidable if you just know what to look for. Just look at that. The single biggest reason startups fail, at a staggering 42%, is no market need. They built something nobody actually wanted. I mean, this just hammers home why those early stages we talked about, the empathy, the testing, the validation, they're not just important, they are literally everything. So the big question is, how do you avoid becoming part of that 42%? Well, the modern answer is the lean startup methodology. It's a whole philosophy designed to fight that exact problem by focusing on speed, agility, and just relentless customer feedback.
And this is the core engine of the whole thing, the build, measure, learn feedback loop. The idea is you don't spend years building a perfect product in secret. No way. You build a minimum viable product, the absolute simplest version you can, and you get it in front of real customers. You measure how they react, and you learn from that data. And then you have a choice. Do we pivot and change direction, or do we persevere on the path we're on? It's a constant cycle. When you look at the whole picture, this entire process, it's a climb. It's a challenging, often exhausting journey that demands resilience, adaptation, and a really deep belief in the problem you're trying to solve. It's a path that's just defined by constant learning, by taking those moderate risks, and hopefully by incredible rewards at the top.
So, after seeing this whole playbook laid out, from that first spark of an idea to the discipline of the launch, it really all comes back to a single, powerful question. What problem out there is just waiting for your unique solution? What problem will you solve?